A sellout crowd, around 9,200 people going into Purcell Pavilion at the Joyce Center. Notre Dame, the house that Digger Phelps built, or at least helped renovate on the day when College Game Day got the crowd rocking, with number 2 North Carolina coming in to take on the Fighting Irish in an ACC showdown tonight and a rematch of the ACC Tournament Championship game from last season. Welcome to the Infinity College Basketball Tip-Off here in South Bend, Indiana tonight, as the electricity starts to build in the building, just a few moments away from tip-off between the second-ranked team in the country in the Associated Press, number 1 in the coaches poll, and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. The ACC standings look like this. North Carolina just suffered its first conference loss to Louisville. Louisville, as you know, has self-imposed a postseason ban. So, among teams going to the postseason, the Tar Heels with a 2-game lead in the loss column, and Notre Dame back at 6-4. Reese Davis and Jay Billis with you tonight. Again, if you're just joining us, Dan Schulman a little under the weather. Hoping Dan gets to feel better very soon. Jay, as we look at this game tonight, Notre Dame not as highly ranked. What do they have to do to win it?
Well, Notre Dame's highly ranked in offense. The number 1 offense from an efficiency standpoint in the country. This team can really score. I think they've got to take this North Carolina team out of transition. They got to compete on the backboard. So the first thing you do in controlling tempo is control the ball in the offensive end. Notre Dame doesn't turn it over very much, but they're going to have to put this North Carolina team in ball screens and take advantage of their big guys who do not defend as well out on the perimeter.
And Carolina's on top of the ACC, 19-3, and people keep talking about they're struggling in spots on offense.
Well, Carolina, in my judgment, is the best team in the country. They've got the best front court and the best back court combination of anyone. They've got good depth. I think the issue is they've not been shooting the ball well from the perimeter. Marcus Page has really struggled since they played Florida State, and he put up 30. He's only shooting 21% from the field during that time, 14% from 3. They have got to get him going early and break this slump. It's not just him, it's everybody, but Marcus Page has to get going.
Well, Shannon Spade, he spent a little time with Marcus Page. They've looked for everything, voodoo, hexes, different hairstyles, you name it, to try to get this guy going for the heels, Shannon.
Yeah, that's right, Reese. Some Carolina fans might want Marcus Page to skip a few trips to the barbershop, but he said it's absolutely not happening. But something that is faded a little bit is his confidence. I asked him today, when he's in the game and he shoots the ball and the ball leaves his hands, what goes through his mind? Does he think to himself, oh yeah, this is going in? Or does he think, man, I hope this ball goes in the hoop? And he told me now more than ever, he's thinking, man, I hope it goes in. But he said despite that, he's not changing a thing. His practice skills, nothing. He says he's been in shooting slumps before, he's worked his way out of them, and he's confident it'll happen again.
Shannon, Roy Williams and the Heels would love nothing better than for it to change in a building which is noted for having soft rims. This has been the Infinity Tip-Off. Now let's see what happens when coaches hit the racetrack for this year's Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge. Welcome to Saturday Prime Time, presented by DirecTV. Tonight, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame hosting North Carolina. Tar Heels ranked 2nd in the country. Here's how both teams will start. Great matchups both in the backcourt and the front. Marcus Page, as we mentioned, trying to shake that shooting slump. Demetrius Jackson of the Fighting Irish, the only ACC player to average 15 points and 5 assists. And 2 of the 3 guys who averaged double-doubles in the ACC, Bryce Johnson and Zach August, will meet up a few times on the front line and close to the backboard, I'm sure. There is Mike Bray, the head coach of the Irish, took his team to the Elite 8 a year ago. A winning record against top 5 teams at home. And Roy Williams from North Carolina, won national championships on his resume, and the first coach in NCAA history to win 350 at 2 D1 schools. And we're underway. Roger Ayers tosses it up, and North Carolina takes the opening tip.
Well, and Notre Dame starts off in man-to-man. Steve Vastoria, the best defender for this Fighting Irish team on Marcus Page to start. He is 6'5", and an excellent defender.
Bryce Johnson over the top of Bonzie Colson for the first bucket.
Well, Bonzie Colson is giving up a lot of size to Bryce Johnson. And Johnson has had, in my judgment, an All-America caliber season inside. He has been absolutely spectacular all year long.
Johnson's been shooting 74% in the paint over his last 7 games. Now this is something that you were looking for as Jackson takes a shot outside. Is how many times will Notre Dame try to involve North Carolina in ball screens on the perimeter?
I think they're going to do quite a bit of it. They're going to make the North Carolina big guys guard ball screens, especially Kennedy Meeks, and try to attack.
Berry off to the right on the three-point attempt. Zach August has it.
And North Carolina shoots 30% from the three-point line on the season. That's in the high 200s ranked in the country. That's the bottom third of Division I. They're shooting under 30% in ACC competition.
Yeah, Jay, it's around 23%, which is remarkable. I mean, we were talking to Carolina guys before here in practice today. It's not a great shooting team as Bryce Johnson clears it away and traveled, so Notre Dame will get it back. But early in the season, they were shooting the ball a whole lot better than they have been since conference play has started, and particularly in the last few games.
Yeah, part of that's Marcus Page because he has struggled so badly since he scored 30 points against Florida State. Now, he was out early in the season, didn't play the first several games, but once he got back and did very, very well to start. Good pass.
They had a couple of guys open in the paint on the inbounds play. Zach August finished. Bonzie Colson almost slipped in and got it, and they found August instead, and the Irish tied it 2.
Yeah, that drives coaches crazy in special situations when you give up a layup on out of bounds underneath.
Justin Jackson with the offensive rebound, and North Carolina will get a fresh 30.
North Carolina, good offensive rebounding team, but that one grabbed down near the ground. Notre Dame has to feel like they need to get those.
Kennedy Meeks with the soft touch. And Kennedy Meeks, for those of you, and many have, over the course of his career at North Carolina, has reshaped his body. He had an injury problem mid-season, and since then hasn't been quite as effective offensively. So good from the Tar Heel perspective to see him get off to a quick start with a bucket early.
Joel Berry is a really good defender. He's matched up right now with Demetrius Jackson, who's one of the best guards in the country. Dynamic off the dribble, excellent off ball screens. And Jackson is going to have a big game. He's struggled shooting the ball as well of late. He hasn't shot it very well at all from three-point range. He's 3 of his last 21 coming into this one over his last 6 games.
I feel like we keep mentioning injuries. Demetrius had a right hamstring problem that cost him a game. Shot clock getting late. Zach August got it at point-blank range, drew the foul, and Zach will go to the free throw line.
Well, there's what Roy Williams had been talking to Shannon Spake about, and that's the ability to guard the ball. Once you let your man blow by you, that means you're going to have a rotation defensively from a weak side defender. Usually that's a big guy. And then there has to be another rotation. You're put into scramble. And that's what got Zach August open, was that rotation.
August makes the first one. A little bit above average free throw shooter, but he is fluent in some other languages, Greek and Haitian Creole.
I wonder if any of those languages are directed at officials. That's not a bad idea, really. If they can't understand what you're saying, can't call a T. 2-3 zone now for Notre Dame. They're going to be switching defenses throughout the game. I think this is a good idea to try to pack the paint and make North Carolina prove it over the top.
Getting to the high post, Johnson spinning and kissing it off the window nicely, and Bryce has a couple of early buckets.
But Johnson makes so many difficult shots. Those are NBA shots that he makes within the sort of the 8 to 12 foot range that require a tremendous touch, and he has certainly got that.
August going back to work, uses the left hand, lefty short. Bonzie Colson kept it alive, and August finished it up. He's got all 6 points. Carolina quick in transition, and August swatted away, but Roger Ayers got him for a foul.
It might have been that left hand. He had his left hand on Kennedy Meeks when he blocked it up top with his right. But that just shows you, Reese, how good that North Carolina is at getting the ball down court. After you score, they inbound it right away. They bring it up the sideline. The block was good up top. I think it was just that left hand that was on the body of Kennedy Meeks.
Hey guys, this is a little story for you. So Kennedy Meeks and Zach August, they actually attended a basketball summer camp together and became pretty good friends. They were texting each other before the game. I asked Zach what the messages were like, and he said, we've just been saying, I'll meet you at the rim. Well, they just met each other at the rim.
And Meeks missed both free throws. Barry scrambles to save it, and Marcus Page gets it. And so they missed the opportunity for the free throws, and Marcus Page, that's one of the deep threes that Seth Greenberg was talking about there, as Marcus misses now 5 for his last 37.
And there was an example on that missed free throw of what Carolina does. They look to tap it out. You have to be aware of that, because that can be offense for North Carolina, but it can be offense for you as well for Notre Dame.
August asking for it. Now VJ meets him with a neck ball. Stuck. Good soft rims, and apparently the basketball could have used a little more air to touch in there.
Our old colleague Bill Raftery refers to that as a neck ball. I think that's what you were referring to, and he says, neck ball, we led the nation in that.
We spent all morning talking about what a good shooting area it was, and it certainly is, but someone get lodged in the rim there. Rim not friendly.
Carolina switching off on Bastoria. Now Marcus Page is on him. Now there's a switch. Kennedy Meeks on Jackson. He needs to take him.
He'll step back. Demetrius over the top. No good. Justin Jackson got the block out, but didn't get the ball. Bonzi Colson chased it down.
Colson is like a junkyard dog out there. He goes after everything. At 31 points in Cameron Indoor Stadium against Duke, he was the difference in the game. Notre Dame running their circle action, try to burn a little clock and then attack.
Colson right by Johnson into the rim. Just right by him. Left him stuck. Now Carolina's going to try to get it down quickly, but Notre Dame's back to stop the initial push.
That drive by Colson was just on a dribble handoff. He faked it, and there's those offensive rebounds again, Reese. That's what North Carolina does. They get 40% of their misses, and they're not as good an offensive rebounding team this year as they were last year. I think Roy Williams believes they can do an even better job on the offensive glass than they're doing right now.
He's still top 10 in the country. Colson and Johnson off his feet.
This is the tempo that Notre Dame wants.
Jackson, fade away, no good. August with the follow, and he can't get it to go, and here comes North Carolina. This will be one of the battles you see. Who can establish their will in terms of the tempo as it goes off of Notre Dame and stay will North Carolina. Or first media timeout. Both teams still sort of feeling each other out. Tied at 8 in South Bend.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by Hampton. Wherever the road takes you, we'll be there to make your trip even better.
Notre Dame's trying to involve North Carolina's big guys in any kind of ball screen or perimeter action they can. And here's like a ball reversal and a little fake dribble handoff where the cutter comes off. You can get a little two-man game. And right here instead, Bonzi Colson's going to fake it. And you see that Bryce Johnson is looking maybe to switch. And he just totally gets lost here. And Colson just blows right by him, gets all the way to the rim and lays it off. North Carolina's defense not guarding the ball there led to an open layup by Bonzi Colson.
Is that playing the play rather than reacting? Perhaps you go through a scout, you know that's
it is.
They like to do.
It's basically just a little bit of lazy defense. You got to take that dribble all the way to the handoff, and then if you switch, that's fine. But you can't just anticipate the switch and open up that lane.
Turnaround jumper from the baseline for Isaiah Hicks. Speaking of good offensive rebounders, and we've seen a lot in this game, Isaiah Hicks is certainly that, and he comes right off the bench and sticks one in the hoop.
He's been very efficient coming into the ball game off the bench. And one thing North Carolina's always done, their big guys are so well drilled on post moves. They've got a turnaround jumper over their strong shoulder. They've got a jump hook, counter moves.
In rhythm, Marcus Page.
Well, in transition, too. He got down the court quickly. And over the course of his career, Marcus Page has shot the ball better off the dribble than he has as a catch and shoot. But that was on the move. That catch and shoot was a little bit more on the move when he caught it. And really good rhythm. That has to make Roy Williams feel good to see that go through the hoop.
That made Zach August, I was about to say, feel good to see it go through the hoop with force, but it rattled out. And Zach drew the foul as we check in with Shannon Spade.
Yeah, I talked to Marcus Page today. He told me that he loves playing at this place. He loves this gym. He says it's a shooter's gym. There's something about the lights on the court and the fact that all the fans are kind of in the dark. He says that also the rims are soft. We've talked about that a couple of times. You guys saw the ball get stuck in there. But he loves playing here and he loves shooting here. And obviously he's looking to get out of that slump.
He knocked down the first one as August missed the first free throw, Shannon. And with that bucket, Marcus Page, just for the record, passed Hubert Davis on North Carolina's all-time scoring list. They were tied with 1,615 points for 22nd, and now Marcus has pushed the Carolina assistant a spot down the list as August makes 1 of 2 free throws.
Well, nobody's happier than Hubert Davis to see that ball go through the hoop, even though Marcus Page passed him, and there's no better guy on the planet. Hubert Davis is as good as it gets.
And he's been working with a lot of these guys, doing some extra time and shooting to try to get the Tar Heels out of this perimeter slump. Theo Pinson muscling his way in. Joel James, who picked up a foul a moment ago, couldn't get it to go, and Rex Pfluger's into the game and handling the ball for the Irish.
Pfluger from Modern Day High School in Southern California. Nice drive by Steve Vastoria, but with Pfluger into the game, now Demetrius Jackson can take some time to work off the ball. He doesn't have to have it in his hands all the time.
And Penson is called for the foul. It's his first, team third on the floor, and Irish will put it in play with a fresh 30.
North Carolina switching everything on that screen for the screener.
And Vastoria pulls up and just away from the elbow. Barely got iron, and here come the Tar Heels.
He was trying to take advantage of having Isaiah Hicks on him. Now he's on Hicks inside. They need to go inside. North Carolina does. Take advantage of that.
Well, James wanted the basketball. Page couldn't get it to him. Now the kick out. Barry for three. It's no good. There's Hicks. Offensive rebound we mentioned, and another one for Isaiah Hicks, who has 4 quick points off the bench. And North Carolina's up a half dozen.
Well, Mike Bray putting Bonzi Colson back into the game. Notre Dame's first shot defense has been pretty good. It's just they're giving up too many offensive rebounds. North Carolina's given up a few of their own. But Notre Dame can't win this game if they're given second opportunities to North Carolina.
Shot clock inside 10. Jackson gets by Barry, uses his body beautifully and gets the and one.
Demetrius Jackson is so dynamic coming off of a ball screen. And he can go right into contact and still finish the play. He goes right into Joel Berry and Joel James and still able to finish that with his left hand. The hedge by James. And if James had come over a little bit earlier, he would have dropped it right off to Zach August. And Demetrius Jackson is one of the top 5 or 6 point guards in the country because he can score, he can dish. Boy, is he good off the dribble.
Three-point play finished. The foul was on James, and he goes to the bench picking up a couple.
Back to a 2-3 zone now after the make.
Hicks goes high for the catch and then uses the left nicely. Well, he's come off the bench and played very well again. 6 points for Isaiah.
North Carolina does a really good job of keeping somebody behind the zone. You can throw it up top, and then they do a great job of screening the zone. Their wings, they're big guys. They'll get a lob against it, moving the ball around because they're not a great perimeter shooting team, and that's what Notre Dame's trying to take advantage of.
Shot clock at 5. Colson hits it up, air ball. Here comes North Carolina wanting to push, but no numbers for Theo Pinson, so he'll wait on some guys in Carolina blue. Hicks is feeling it. Foul called on the floor. What Carolina has a 5-point lead. Demetrius Jackson is the guest with Jay Billis and 94 feet. What kind of questions you got for him, JB?
He doesn't look very excited.
94 feet with Notre Dame's Demetrius Jackson. What's your favorite professional team?
The Warriors.
Who did you pattern your game after, if anybody?
Russell Westbrook.
And what's your favorite thing to eat?
Favorite thing to eat? Pizza.
How about your favorite course right now at Notre Dame?
Favorite course? I would say sociology.
All right, if you didn't go to Notre Dame, where would you be?
That's a tough question. I would probably say at home with my parents.
All right, how many times did Digger Phelps tell you about beating number 1?
Every day.
That's 94 feet with Demetrius Jackson.
I'm shocked to hear the news as we see Digger that Digger reminiscing and repeating a story. That's surprising to me.
I can tell you that right now Jay Williams is in the DeLorean headed back to 1974 and the ending of an 88-game winning streak.
Look at that. Jay Will hasn't spoken yet. Let's keep a camera on that throughout and put a clock on it. See how long it is before Jay Will gets to wedge in a word. Joel Berry wedges in a shot, and North Carolina pushes its lead to 7.
Well, Joel Berry's had a terrific year. He's not shot the ball well of late. But their last ball game of Louisville was the first game in about 12 or 13 that he was under double figures. He's been very consistent.
Jay, we played 9 minutes of this game, only 1 turnover from the 2 teams combined, but we haven't had great shooting.
Yeah, they haven't turned it over, but they got to repaint the rims in a little while. A lot of clanging off the iron.
1 of 8 outside the arc for the 2 teams combined, the only 3 made by Marcus Page. Hicks tries to give it back to Jackson, and Pfluger hustling, got a hand on it, and knocked it off Carolina. It'll be Fighting Irish basketball. Big Monday, great ACC matchup again. Louisville taking on Duke, Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, streaming live on the Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. And of course, Louisville beat Boston College today, the first game for the Cardinals after self-imposing a postseason ban as a result of the NCAA investigation. And it'll be a test for the Cardinals, although I know Boston College isn't very good, but the initial indication is they come out and play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and one would imagine that's what they would do when they have big opportunities against teams like Duke and other giants in the ACC the rest of the regular season.
Well, that's the opportunity for their team to send a message that they are a really good basketball team and capable of a deep run in the NCAA tournament that, you know, their administration basically took away from them.
That investigation will continue, so we don't know if that will be the end of the sanctions for Louisville. Bonzie Colson had the 1 bucket. Bryce Johnson couldn't get the flop call. Bonzie having a word with the official there, and Johnson now has made 3 buckets, got 6 points.
And that's the exact right way to handle a flop. If you feel it's a flop, just don't call anything. And Bryce Johnson able to make an easy post move as a result of it. North Carolina's getting the ball inside effectively. They are attacking through their big guys, which they need to do. That's a real strength of this team.
Jackson, a whirling dervish in the lane, can't get it to go. A lot of gold jerseys around it, but a blue jersey pulls it out. Jackson to a trailer.
How about the defense on that by Marcus Page?
How about the defense from Zach August on the other end? Soaring in to block the shot and bringing this crowd to its feet.
Maybe that'll inject some energy into this Notre Dame team. They've controlled the tempo, but they haven't been able to score.
How wearing is that over the course of the game as you see Colson going inside and leaving it on the front of the rim? If you can continue to have the tempo the way you want it.
Well, ultimately it affects your defense. I think if you're unable to score, it puts so much pressure on your defense to get stops. And it makes it really, really difficult. But the more opportunities North Carolina gets at the rim, the more they're going to get fouled, the more they're going to go to the free throw line. But a great block on that move along the baseline by Justin Jackson. And that was a basket-saving block by Zach August.
And there is Zach. The last foul was called on Bonzie Colson.
And August has had a really good season himself. He's averaging almost 12 rebounds a game in his last 6 games, almost 5 offensive rebounds. And he's not the type of guy that's going to be a low post player that you're going to throw the ball into him. He's going to make all these low post moves. He's much better setting ball screens, rolling to the basket. But when he's active, Zach August is a really good player.
I think Bonzie's over there dealing with a contact lens situation. He got hit in the eye. That's what it appears to be anyway. And you see Bonzie getting the contact back in place over there. Shannon, what do you have on Zach August?
You got to hate it when you lose your contact in the middle of a ball game, right? But you know, as far as Zach August, I talked to him yesterday. He was the 2015 Most Improved Player last year. And what impressed me yesterday watching him during practice is when Coach Bray tells everyone that they can go get some water, it's time for a break. He gets up to the free throw line and hits some free throws. He never sits down, and he told me that's by design. He says he wants to be the motor. He wants to set the example, and that is exactly what he does in practice and obviously in this game.
And Shannon, in addition to being most improved, Notre Dame's great tournament run last year, he was all Midwest region team. They nearly helped Connaughton and Grant get the Irish to the Final Four, and Kennedy Meeks puts it up softly and sort of sneakily. North Carolina's pushed this lead out to 8.
Well, what a team Notre Dame had last year with Jaron Grant and Pat Connaughton. And Connaughton at the 4 position helped Notre Dame really spread the floor and allowed them to attack off the dribble. Then they could play drive and kick. The floor isn't as open for Notre Dame this year. They're playing 2 big guys, and they're not really a 3-around 2 team. But right now, they've got Zach August and Bonzie Colson in the game, so the floor isn't quite as spread. Now is the scramble, the run and jump from North Carolina. That's going to create some openings if Notre Dame doesn't turn it over.
So what is the best thing to do against this run and jump defense? How do you attack it?
Well, when you got two on the ball, when there's a double team, you got to make a catch, be a receiver, catch, face the defense, and then make a play where you're playing 4-on-3 on the back end.
Carolina got to stop. Henson almost traveled. Page going to try another deep one, and maybe Marcus is starting to feel that shooting stroke come back. His second three-pointer of the game, and North Carolina is up by 12. Notre Dame calls a timeout. Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. North Carolina's on a 7-0 run. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame have missed 9 of their last 11 shots, and the Tar Heels are up by a dozen, Jay.
Well, North Carolina's getting the ball inside as well. They're big guys that played really well. We focused a little bit on Marcus Page, who's 2 of 3 from three-point range for 6 points in this game, breaking out of that slump. But Kennedy Meeks, Bryce Johnson, and Isaiah Hicks are a combined 18 points on 8 of 10 from the field. And they've combined for 8 rebounds. So the strength of the Carolina front court has kind of taken the game over for the Tar Heels.
What's the significance of the substitution Bray made of putting Matt Ryan into the game?
Well, I mean, you're trying to get some shooting into the game, but they've still got those 2 big guys. Good pass in the high-low.
And Bryce Johnson blocked it, but he goaltended it. So Colson will get the bucket.
You can see a nice little post-up. And Bryce Johnson not playing his man before he gets the ball. He was playing him after. That was just too easy for Notre Dame if you're looking at it from a North Carolina perspective. 2-3 zone for Notre Dame. And one of the things that Notre Dame's got to deal with, they've got those 2 big guys in the game, so the middle's clogged. I think Mike Bray would rather play 4-on-1 where he can get more drives.
Johnson fighting for the rebound off the Jackson miss, and Justin Jackson comes out of there with it. Another possession for North Carolina on the offensive window, something they've had a lot of in the first half.
And they're getting extra possessions off offensive rebounds, and almost another one. Notre Dame escapes there, but every time that Carolina's gotten an offensive board, it seems like they've gotten a score. It's 8 second chance points already in the ball game for North Carolina.
Ryan Jackson in, along with August, Vestoria, and Colson. Joel Berry returns, guarding the ball now for North Carolina.
Ryan, just a freshman, he can really shoot it. He struggled a little bit to get shots to go down, but he's got range and he's unafraid.
And Jackson getting in the lane, almost traveled with it. August working the offensive window. Meeks blocked it, looked clean up top. Might have been some body underneath.
Looked clean everywhere.
That's 2 fouls on Kennedy Meeks, 5th team foul.
A terrific job, not only on the offensive, that's a clean block. How is that a foul? That's not a foul. But a terrific job by Joel Berry in guarding Demetrius Jackson. He's kept his body in front and has really done a nice job keeping him away from the paint.
August takes advantage of the call against Meeks. Isaiah Hicks going to return to the lineup, and Kennedy will have a seat.
Whereas Kennedy Meeks continues to get back into top condition after his injury and after he was out for a while. What a front court rotation that is with Meeks, Johnson, and Hicks. And you can bring the big body Joel James into the game as well. Not sure anybody's got a front court as powerful or as deep as North Carolina in college basketball.
Well, Meeks missed 7 games. The injury you referred to, the bruised left knee, and since that time, he's only been in double figures 1 time. But perhaps on his way to 9, has a half dozen.
You know, at the end of the day, that injury is not going to be a bad thing for North Carolina because it got Isaiah Hicks a lot more playing time. And then last year, Kennedy Meeks really kind of wore down throughout the season. And it actually gave him a little bit of a rest, so he should be fresher as we get toward the end of the season than he was last year.
Ryan had a look at it, couldn't get it to go. Right in the middle of that zone, there's Hicks, and Isaiah has been a force.
You know, against Syracuse in the 2-3 zone that Jim Boeheim employs, North Carolina did a really good job of attacking that zone. They got it into the middle to Bryce Johnson, and then they were able to throw it down to the baseline to Isaiah Hicks. He had 21 in that game, but that was Isaiah Hicks in the middle himself, and that was a really good play by the big guy.
And meanwhile, Notre Dame shoots about 38% from 3, and they haven't made one yet tonight as Colson can't get it to go. Fights, gets it back. August comes out with it. Ball's like a little bit of a hot potato for the Irish. Vestoria will settle them down.
You know, Bryce Johnson has been great all season long, but he's got to be quicker to the ball. He's getting beat to the ball right now. Getting beat to position when he's playing post defense, he's getting beat to the ball, and that's not the way he has played throughout the course of the year, especially when he's gotten the ACC play. I mean, he's one of 12 big guys in the country that are out, at least in major conferences, are averaging a double-double. And he's done a really good job all year long. He's been one of the 5 best big guys in the country without argument.
That 13 double-doubles, only had 10 in his career before this year. And August gets a chance for a three-point play, an aggressive drive by the big fella from the Irish.
The North Carolina's big guys are not alert when they're guarding out on the perimeter. I mean, Isaiah Hicks just fell totally asleep and allowed Zach August to drive him on the baseline. You know, it was just a miscommunication, but I mean, you gotta be better than that. And they're giving up. North Carolina's been giving up way too many opportunities like that. If they tighten up their defense, I think we could be looking at the best team in the country. I know Oklahoma fans disagree, and maybe they should.
Vestoria went in and it swatted away by Berry. And the athleticism showing not only from the big guys from the Tar Heels, but the guards as well. Berry tries to follow it up with a bucket, and Ryan rebounds for Notre Dame. 8-point lead for North Carolina inside 5 minutes to play in the first half. August in the middle. August with a flush. He's got 13, and the Irish cut it to 6. Steal by Jackson, and then Page knocked it away, but it'll be Notre Dame's basketball.
Notre Dame is taking advantage of some lapses in defense by this North Carolina team. In transition, Isaiah Hicks, Bryce Johnson not doing a good job communicating and picking up the Irish big guys. And that is way too easy. And Notre Dame, the crowd's now in it. They're within 2 possessions. If they can get a score here, all of a sudden there's a little bit more game pressure on North Carolina. A little horn set out top.
August has been the guy to keep Notre Dame in it. Irish shooting under 30% for the game. It's still only down by 6. And the crowd trying to will them into a bit of a run. Here's the man of the first half. That one shot about a 14-foot shot, and unfortunately for Zach, shot at 12 feet. Page going to try another 3, and he knocks it in. That's 3 3-pointers for Marcus Page. He'd hit just 5 of his last 36 coming in, but he's found the answer tonight.
Slump officially over. A little double drag out top, and then a fade screen for Ryan by Zach August. Now he's got an isolation on the left side.
Joel James back into the game. He catches the air ball.
And Notre Dame's kind of going on their own a little bit now. They're getting some decent shots, but they're forcing some too.
Page now, he's officially feeling it. A little ball fake, get the defender away, and he knocked in another 3-pointer. And North Carolina, as soon as it was challenged behind Marcus Page, shoots back out to a 12-point lead. He's made his last 4 from behind the arc.
So it was official on that one? I thought it was official before.
I think it's official when we come to town. We did it for Bryn Forbes. Now we're doing it for Marcus Page. We're just spreading joy.
So what you're telling me, it's not official until Reese Davis declares it official.
Step back like that makes it official. Triple-double of the season because of what else happened in the game you saw the other night.
Yeah, he got a triple-double against the Washington Wizards, and he wasn't even considered for player of the game because his teammate Steph Curry put up 51-25 in the first quarter. What a display of basketball by the Golden State Warriors, that is as fun a team to watch as you're going to find at any level of basketball.
A couple of former Tar Heels on the Warriors roster too, with Harrison Barnes and James Michael McAdoo, and of course Steph Curry played his college ball in the state of North Carolina. So some connections there, and boy, Billy Donovan's done a terrific job with Oklahoma City too, and Kevin Durant hit a game winner on Wednesday night.
Well, Billy Donovan went into Oklahoma City with a tremendous amount of humility. You know, he got to know all the players, wanted to know what they were capable of and put them in the best position. He was adapting to them so that they could be themselves. They didn't have to adapt to him. And he hired a great staff. He's really done a great job. Not surprised at all because he's such a great coach, but he's also a great person. I think that's showing through in the way he's handling himself.
Pfluger was all over and did a good defensive job on Page and forced the turnover. Inside 3 minutes to play in the first half. The Fighting Irish could use a good close here. And Pfluger firing up the air ball, and Luke May, the freshman, the second stint of the first half, gets a rebound. Barry steps into it and drains it.
Notre Dame is settling for really difficult shots. Marcus Page was forcing Rex Pfluger baseline, and he drove baseline and had to take a really tough shot. There was no rebounding there. And you got to move the ball, and usually Notre Dame is really good at moving the ball from side to side, and the ball doesn't stick, but in this game it has stuck a little bit.
Foul called out on the perimeter. You just saw the three-point shooting. Jay, you alluded to it earlier. In ACC play, the Tar Heels have been shooting a little less than 24%. Tonight they've hit 5 out of 8 from behind the arc, and it was mostly Page, but Barry just knocked one in as well. And the first foul was just called on May, and look at the difference for Marcus Page last 6 and tonight.
Well, it's an amazing turnaround, and I know Roy Williams has to be very happy that his star perimeter player is knocking shots down again, but also missing has been contagious because everybody has struggled from the perimeter over the last 6 or 7 games, but making them's contagious too. Joel Berry stepped into that last 3 after going 1 of 10 against Louisville, and Joel Berry shoots about 62% effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot, where he just catches it without a dribble. And you've got to make a guy like Barry put the ball on the deck. If he's allowed to catch it and shoot it, he is so much more effective, maybe 40% more effective. You got to make him dribble it.
Jackson gets a hand in there and gets a steal. Austin Torres into the game, gets it into the front court, and now he sets a screen for Demetrius.
Bryce Johnson's been just a little bit too casual in this one.
Astoria with the one hand off the glass.
And Astoria is such a good shooter. He can give a little shot fake. He just lifted those eyebrows up a little bit with a subtle shot fake, and Theo Pinson left the floor, got off balance, and that opened up the drive.
So far, this is the kind of close, at least the start of it, I should say, that the Irish need to finish the half. Jackson can't get it to go. Bryce Johnson not casual on that rebound. Irish fighting for it. Johnson has it again, creates a little bit of space, still can't get the shot to go, and Notre Dame can get it back to single digits.
If Notre Dame can get a score, stop, and a score, they've got a real chance in this one. But if North Carolina can get a stop here and a score, they can put a little bit more out of sight.
Jackson tried to go over the top and baptize everybody. He'll go to the free throw line. That's an explosive downhill play from the Fighting Irish point guard.
Just off the ball screen, that's exactly right. Downhill basically means north-south instead of going east-west. And he has taken that ball outside. that is outside of the restricted arc against Justin Jackson. And that's taking the ball to the hoop like a man.
The shooting foul, and Jackson's second.
I think he took off from Mishawaka.
He was flying. Demetrius, 16th McDonald's All-American in Notre Dame history, and he blended in with those guys that we mentioned earlier, Connaughton and Grant last year. He was an important part of that team and assumed an even larger leadership role, and just like that, the Irish back to 9, minute to play in the first half. Bray exhorting his guys to move their feet on defense and not use those hands and draw a foul. Pfluger gets the steal, jumping into the passing lanes. Pfluger past Page, and the foul is on the floor against North Carolina. And on the floor, significant because not yet in the bonus.
And Notre Dame just turned that into a 2-for-1 for itself.
Well, let me correct myself. I saw the official point down on the floor as if he were calling it before the shot instead. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to. That's right. It is a double bonus. It's the Notre Dame that is not in the bonus yet. So my mistake is Pfluger gets the double bonus, and it was a foul on the floor.
So right now, North Carolina, they're going to get the ball after this, whether it's a make or miss. And Notre Dame, just with that steal by Pfluger, created a 2-for-1 for itself.
And an 8-0 run as well.
And not a good job ending the half by North Carolina. And for a veteran team, Roy Williams has to be disappointed with the way they've handled this. They could have put this lead a little bit out of sight.
Hicks has it knocked away and the foul's called. Less than 30 seconds away from halftime. The bottom of the Joyce Center here is the pit. And we have Jay Will and Seth Greenberg. I think Seth better get those mitts up.
Hey, nobody told me that was available because I'd like to take a swing at both of those guys.
You'd have the reach on them. Wait.
The number one can tell. Oh, down goes Greenberg. Down goes Greenberg.
I'm thinking Seth took a dive, though. I'm not sure he really wanted to. I'm not sure Seth was invested in winning. In the pit right there. Hicks trying to make it 2 for 2 from the free throw line. He rolls it home. Hicks into double figures with 10. Chief halftime report just around the corner. Number one in trouble. Oklahoma's on the road at Kansas State. We'll also analyze the first half. We'll hear from Seth and Jay Will. Number 1, 2, and 3 all on the road on this Saturday. Villanova's already won. North Carolina has the lead here, and we'll get you up to date on number 1 Oklahoma at the break.
Whatever happens here, North Carolina's got to block out Zach August for a second shot.
E.J. Beecham can't get it to go. The fight for the rebound. Last touch by Barry on the baseline. So the Irish will have it. 1.9 seconds left in the first half. We saw Notre Dame get a good look on baseline out of bounds earlier. Have to do it quickly this time.
Yeah, what they have been doing at times, they can run a little screen for the screener play, but North Carolina can switch things. They like to switch these.
Jackson gets a shot up. Can't get it to go, and that's how we'll go to halftime. 39-30, and Marcus Page have been waiting for this type of performance in the first half. 4 3-pointers, a dozen points, 9-point lead for Carolina as we check in with Shannon Spates.
Well, Coach, coming into this game, you knew that their bigs were going to be a main priority. How do you have to adjust now that they've opened it up from the perimeter?
Yeah, they're making shots now. I'm disappointed in our offense. I thought we took some bad shots, which led to easy buckets for them. We got to be better offensively, and we're going to have to get out on shooters. They're feeling better tonight.
What will lead to some of those better decision-making on offense?
Yeah, I think we need to have receivers. They're doing a good job contesting us, screening for each other, even back cut without it when you don't have it. And when we have a drive, we got to go.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, Shannon, Mike, Notre Dame shot only 27% in the first half. North Carolina shot it very well. 39-30 Jeep halftime report coming up after these messages. Welcome back to Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. Just about set to start the second half at Notre Dame. North Carolina with a 39-30 lead. Reese Davis, Jay Billis, and Shannon Spake with you. Jay, Roy Williams told us today, much easier game when the ball goes in the basket. It did for his team. What do the Irish need to do to get the ball in the basket more effectively?
Well, they've got to move the ball. I think they dribble a little bit too much. I think when they move the ball, they'll be in much better shape. But I don't think North Carolina even played as well as they're capable. They held Notre Dame to under 30% from the field, but that had to do as much with Notre Dame. And North Carolina fouled 10 times in that half. They gave up 9 offensive rebounds that led to 8 second chance points for Notre Dame, and they turned the ball over 7 times. North Carolina can play far better than they did in the first half. Obviously, the Irish can make shots. They're capable of that. But North Carolina I think they feel like they should be up by more after that half.
Let's check in with Shannon as we get started here in the second half. Shannon?
Well, Roy Williams, he mentioned those fouls that you just talked about, Jay. He said that we cannot continue to do that in this second half. As far as Marcus Page, 12 points. I asked him what he thought when the first shot went in the basket, and he said, I liked it.
And Shannon told us before the game that Marcus was saying for a while he hoped the ball would go in as soon as he shot. And I think by the end of the half, he was pretty much expecting it. But Carolina didn't really finish the first half the way it had hoped. They turned the ball over 3 times in the final 3 minutes. This lead could have been much larger. Page takes a tough one. Kendi Meeks fighting for it. And let's see who touched it last. And it'll stay on this end with the Tar Heels.
Well, you could tell Marcus Page is feeling better because he did take that tough one where he is fading from the basket, didn't go straight up. And those shots are even more difficult than your standard catch and shoot under pressure.
Bryce Johnson puts it up nice and soft. Soft rims in evidence there as North Carolina's lead goes back to double figures.
Well, soft rim, hard rim. That guy's got a soft touch. You're not going to find a big guy with a softer shooting touch from 15 feet and in than Bryce Johnson. I think he's got the capability to stretch that range out even further.
Bonzie Colson turns the corner, uses his body well against Johnson and scores.
You know, Bryce Johnson played Bonzie Colson to block a shot. And Colson went right into his body and took that possibility away. But Bryce Johnson has got to play his man before he gets the ball, not after. And I think he's been a little bit too reactionary.
You've mentioned that a couple of times tonight in regard to Johnson, specifically on that play. How would he have done it more effectively to play him beforehand?
You got to be there on the catch. They were just going to set a big-on-big little screen at the elbow there and try to put Kennedy Meeks and Bryce Johnson into a screen situation, but Johnson was out of position on the catch. You know, he wasn't playing ball man defense.
Joel Berry drew the foul and cashed it in with a pair of free throws.
Well, the difference in North Carolina this year as opposed to last, when Joel Berry was injured, wasn't able to play effectively, and Marcus Page spent the year injured. I mean, Berry with the ball and playing the way he has this year, and I know he's capable of shooting it better than he has of late, has made a huge difference for North Carolina. Pastoria
has it taken away by Johnson. And here comes Berry, pushing it up, and Notre Dame back on defense.
Notre Dame's offense feels like it's been, you know, running in cement or something, playing in mud. Everything is a little bit slower than you normally see it. And they're making moves off of one pass. I think when they move the ball, get it from side to side, and then attack, they can be much more effective. This is an outstanding offensive team, and you give a lot of credit to the North Carolina defense because the Tar Heels, especially their guards, have defended pretty well, but they're capable of defending better.
The kick out to the corner, and now good ball movement from the Irish, and Bonzie Colson has a chance for a three-point play.
And he goes right at the body of Bryce Johnson, puts him in a position to foul.
The second foul on Johnson, and we've seen Bonzie Colson seems to do a good job when he gets down deep of keeping his shoulders parallel with the backboard to create a little bit of space.
Yeah, he does a really good job of protecting the ball. He's got such long arms. He's only about 6'5" or 6'6", but that length, it helps him grab rebounds, block shots, and get his shot off. But Bryce Johnson, again, was out of position when Colson caught the ball and allowed him that angle to the basket.
Colson scored all 5 second-half points for the Irish. 8-point lead for North Carolina. Johnson can't get it to go, and guess who pulls it away? Colson's playing with some edge and attitude in the second half. Now let's see if the Irish can get Demetrius Jackson going.
Jackson almost walked with that. I'll tell you, Bonzie Colson got a really nice block out on the other end, blocking out Kennedy Meeks.
Not easy to do. That big body Meeks will throw at you. There's Colson again, and Johnson played a little help side and swatted the shot away.
Just another ball screen and then roll replace action. And Colson just put it right on the deck and drove right into Johnson, but Johnson met him at the summit. Shannon Spade could talk a little bit about August and Johnson meeting, or August and Meeks meeting at the summit, but that was a meeting at the summit with Johnson blocking that one.
Now the shot clock's at 2. Jackson has to let it go, and it won't go down. And North Carolina comes back. Crowd wanted a foul as August wound up on the deck, but incidental contact, the officials decide.
So Justin Jackson's been awfully quiet in this game. He has gotten absolutely nothing on the offensive end. Good pass.
Jackson made that pass to Kennedy Meeks, who rolls it in. Meeks now has 8.
And Meeks getting a lot more minutes in this one than he's gotten in several of the games past, where he's averaging about 16, 17 minutes a game. And he's playing some increased minutes in this one.
Rex Pfluger was trying to feed it into August, and Meeks is called for the foul. It's his 3rd.
Well, you don't want to try to do that on the baseline side, but a nice duck in, and you got to play him on the line and up the line. Zach August got caught too far below Kennedy Meeks, and he just jumped right in front of him, ducking into the lane. But that was not a good foul by Kennedy Meeks. His man was off the lane. All he needed to do was stay between him and the basket. That's not a steal that you're going to get coming from the baseline side.
And so Meeks will have a seat to think about the error of his ways, at least for a while. And Joel James is back. Vastoria drew some contact as he was on his way to the basket. Big Monday will bring you back to the ACC. Louisville taking on Duke. Grayson Allen had a huge game for the Blue Devils against North Carolina State, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So streaming live on the Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Louisville won its first game today since announcing the imposition of probation for a year, no postseason for the Cardinals as a result of the NCAA investigation. Again, Louisville's decision, not yet the NCAA's. Louisville was the team who on Monday night, as Vastoria made the both, brought it into North Carolina's winning streak, handed them their first loss in ACC play at 8-1, and now the Tar Heels trying to bounce back while in the process. And Notre Dame, its second consecutive loss, something that's been rare in the last couple of years for the Irish. In fact, it hasn't happened the last 11 times the Irish have been coming off a loss. They answered with a win. They got some work to do tonight. Demetrius Jackson does some of it, but doesn't finish it with the bucket, and James has the rebound.
Well, again, one-on-one play for Notre Dame.
Offensive foul as Hicks was on his way to the bucket, and August stood in there and drew the charge. Already the 15th foul.
I don't know why August was standing straight up. Hicks could have gotten right around him on the baseline side. I don't know why he decided to go into him. But Justin Jackson, after he missed that three, I think that's 2 of 22 from three-point range for Justin Jackson in ACC play. And he was such a good shooter coming out of high school and shot the ball really well over the last 8 games of last year. But over the summer, he struggled shooting from three, and this season he struggled. He's a much better shooter than he's shown.
Jackson, Demetrius goes over Justin and somehow batted it back up and through the basket, and Notre Dame fighting, scratching, and clawing, and they're only down 6. Deep position for Joel James, and the good feed gets it to him in the bucket.
Well, Joel James usually needs an angle to the basket or an offensive rebound or scores off a drop-off. You let him get positioned that deep with a catch with 2 feet in the paint, and you're not going to be able to stop that big body from getting to the rim.
August slipped the screen. The pass was deflected. Zach came up with it and couldn't finish it off, and I think a foul is going to be called on the inside. Media timeout. North Carolina holding on to an 8-point lead.
Top the Big 12. Villanova could be the new #1, fellas.
Could be, and so too could North Carolina. You know, the oddity of that Oklahoma-Kansas State game, it's the 3rd time Lon Kruger has coached in a game involving #1 Oklahoma against Kansas State, and he's now 0-3 because the previous 2 occasions he was the head coach at Kansas State in the late 80s, and they lost a couple of close games, and Oklahoma goes into Manhattan and loses now. So who would you vote #1 next week, Jay? If Carolina wins tonight, Tar Heels on top?
I think Carolina's the best team, but that doesn't mean they should be #1 right now after losing at Louisville. I think you can make a good case for Villanova. You know, wouldn't have a problem with anybody because it's going to be a revolving door the rest of the year.
As we were getting you up to date on the Oklahoma loss, Bonzie Colson picked up his 3rd foul and headed to the bench, and just like that, another foul was called on Notre Dame. It was Pfluger picking up his 1st, team's 4th. Underneath out of bounds, North Carolina had a chance for an easy one and couldn't finish it up. Jackson pushing it into the front court.
That was just a little back pick by Marcus Page on Isaiah Hicks, and you're not going to get an easier lob to the rim. He just couldn't get it down.
And Vastoria fouled on the outside by Marcus Page, and Page now picks up his 3rd as we check in with Shannon.
Yeah, guys, Mike Bray told his guys in that last time out he likes what he's seeing out of them defensively, the pressure that they're putting on Carolina right now. He also likes the way that the offense has opened up for his team. He says, we're getting our shots.
Yeah, they got to make them, though. That's the problem. They weren't getting as many open shots in the first half and forcing a lot of things, but that's an open one for Vastoria. He can hit that.
And the first 3-pointer of the night for the Fighting Irish. It's a 5-point game.
And now some game pressure on North Carolina. How do they respond on the road?
Hicks double team. Jackson couldn't handle it. Turnover for the Tar Heels.
Boy, and it was a favorable matchup. It was Pfluger on Isaiah Hicks inside.
Almost 2 in a row. Jackson with a tip in. Maybe the smallest guy on the floor had the position, and he put back the miss, and just like that, we got a ball game. 3-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Acura, precision crafted performance, and Zales. Declare your diamond kind of love with gorgeous gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store.
North Carolina has a switch it wants to flip. Now might be a good time because Notre Dame's just out hustling them right now. They've scored 15 points off turnovers. Tar Heels have yet to do it. North Carolina's only forced a couple of turnovers from the Irish. I know Notre Dame takes care of the ball, but it's been a little lackadaisical attitude from time to time as Carolina goes inside to try to get the answer. And Isaiah Hicks will go to the free throw line as we check in with Shannon.
Well, Reese, watching that Carolina bench just now, Roy Williams extremely animated, as you could probably imagine, and he called out each of his players that are on the floor right now. He looked at them and he pointed at each one and said, you have to do your job, you have to do your job, and you have to do your job.
Well, their jobs have been to get key rebounds and to get key stops and to take care of the ball. And in this ball game, North Carolina's turned it over 10 times. That's led to 15 points off turnovers by Notre Dame. And Notre Dame has 11 offensive rebounds. That's led to 12 second chance points. Now, North Carolina's got 11 offensive rebounds, but that's what the Tar Heels do. But they are getting out-rebounded and out-hustled for the ball, which is not the norm for this North Carolina team.
Irish shooting 32%. They've made one free throw and they're right in it. That's not a good sign for North Carolina. It's a great one for Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame just continuing to keep plugging. They are hanging in there when they haven't shot the ball well at all. Good drive.
Astoria. 2-point game inside 13 to play. Barry looking into that student section. Shot clock inside 15.
Got a switch. Got Beecham on Hicks. Now this
double team. Trying to force a turnover. It's a jump ball, a held ball. And the arrow goes this way with the Irish.
It's a bad decision by North Carolina. That ball should have gone to Isaiah Hicks, not to Joel James. That was not the matchup to exploit. Isaiah Hicks had B.J. Beecham on him. You go to him, you've got a chance. You put it into Joel James, and it resulted in a turnover. Now Notre Dame can tie this or take the lead.
An opportunity for the tie, and the foul is not going to count. It was too late, and there was a foul called beforehand. Foul was called on Luke May, his second. He just checked back into the game for North Carolina. That is the 7th team foul.
And it's remarkable. This Notre Dame team has shot 32% in this game. They shot 28% in the first half, but they're getting to the free throw line. And North Carolina fouling them, putting them at the line. And then Notre Dame does not turn the ball over. One of the lowest turnover teams in the country. They only average about 9.5 turnovers a game. They've only got 2 turnovers in this one. And that's kept them in it with a chance to tie this ball game right here.
With 2 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first half, North Carolina was up by 15, and now it's tied. The Irish have made 17 of 19 from the free throw line, and they fought their way back in. A brand new game as we head toward the 12-minute mark. Justin Jackson can't get it to go, but a foul's called inside.
Rex Pfluger trying to step in there, and that's one where you just make him try to shoot over your big guys rather than try to step in there from that angle. That's just too difficult. And I think the call was exactly right. And this could be the first points for Justin Jackson in this game. He's not scored up till now, has he?
I think that for Jackson, that is first points.
He has been awfully quiet for a guy that's as good a player as Justin Jackson. He had 16 points against Louisville. That was his first double-figure outing for North Carolina since he had 16 against Syracuse. He's really struggled of late.
And 0 for 4 from the floor. Jackson knocks in both free throws. Carolina back on top by 2. Bryce Johnson, Kennedy Meeks.
Got to watch out for a scramble here. And North Carolina's not really gotten into any run and jump. They're scrambled, try to get some traps once across half court.
Demetrius Jackson hasn't had a great night offensively. He only has 2 points, at least in terms of scoring. Finds Beecham, lines one up, and rolls out again. That's the second one that Beecham's had almost down. The basket just spit it out on him.
Yeah, not going to get a better shot. Just a nice throwback going against the grain, and he was wide open.
Here's Jackson, good feed to Hicks. He got his shot blocked by Beecham.
Like, what a play by V.J. Beecham. Took it right out of the hands of Isaiah Hicks.
And Hicks has been tough around that rim. You talked about big guys less than alert at times for Carolina. Beecham was pretty alert coming with that block. Here's Colson working on Hicks. Bonzi can't get it to go, and he'll go to the free throw line with an opportunity to tie it as Hicks picks up his second foul. V.J. Beecham had some tough luck on three-point shots, but not on defense here with the rejection. Good one going in South Bend. Let's take a look at the best of both worlds, brought to you by Cheez-It. And Notre Dame has had a much better world in the second half than it did in the first. They hit their first three-pointer. Demetrius Jackson slipped in there for an offensive rebound. Vastoria going to the bucket in the second half. We said right at the top of the second half, the Irish had to find a way to get shots to go in. The crowd goes completely silent to make sure Bonzi Colson can concentrate on the free throw. They've shot it much better in the second half.
Yeah, they've attacked more. But one thing Notre Dame, whether it's the first or the second half, you know, they've got 15 field goals in this game, only 4 assists. And that tells you they're not moving the ball as well as they're capable of moving it. But one of those assists was when they got the ball off that little pin down screen to Steve Vastoria on the left side. He knocked down the only 3 of the game for Notre Dame.
About the prowess at the free throw line, and it'll go. And chance for a three-point play for North Carolina.
Pretty cut by Justin Jackson. A little curl off the stagger off the left side. He just curls all the way in, and Vastoria reaches and didn't get anything but arm, and Jackson was able to finish that play. And now he's gotten a couple positive things to happen on the offensive end.
We're going to be shooting free throws the rest of the way. Notre Dame's been great at it, hitting 19 out of 21. Jackson finishes the three-point play to put Carolina up by 3. Reese Davis, Jay Billis, Shannon Spake with you. Glad to have you along. What's turned in to an exciting one here coming down the stretch. Jackson hasn't had the greatest shooting night. Beecham tries it again. This time he gets it to go. BJ's had a couple rim out on him, but he answers with a 3, and we're tied again.
Well, Notre Dame went essentially their 5-out motion and making the big guys for North Carolina guard out on the perimeter. But now the smaller lineup for Notre Dame's got a guard inside, and that's where North Carolina needs to go.
Bryce Johnson in the tip in from Kennedy Meeks, who's returned.
See, right now it can be difficult for this lineup to guard on the perimeter for Notre Dame against Notre Dame. But boy, North Carolina can go inside against the Irish if they're going to play this small. To get something, they're giving something up.
And Beecham put it on the deck quickly, and Johnson's called for the foul. That's his 3rd foul.
Yep.
Here's Vastoria.
Vastoria getting that ball and kicking it right out, and Bryce Johnson playing Beecham for the drive. He's driving a little bit more, but he's not a driver, and Johnson not used to guarding a smaller player out on the perimeter. That's what Mike Brey wanted to do, draw them away from the basket, and then they can attack a little bit more. But North Carolina's got to attack inside. That's where their strength is with these lineups on the floor.
Another made free throw. The Fighting Irish. 72% free throw shooting team on the season. They've been way better than that tonight. Back and forth we go, and Notre Dame has now made 15 straight free throws, and we're tied at 55 with under 10 to play.
Zach August back into the ball game. He and Bonzie Colson now the front court guarding Johnson and Meeks.
August came over, tried to get a block, and Beecham has another one. Jackson pushing it up on Barry. Jackson to the bucket, and Notre Dame has the lead. Irish on top for the first time since about the 15-and-a-half-minute mark in the first half. Meeks ties it up again.
A nice touch on the little jump hook by Kennedy Meeks. How about VJ Beecham, a guy that people say, well, he's not a great defender. Well, 1-3-1 now. Half-court trap by North Carolina with Justin Jackson out top. But VJ Beecham's blocked a couple shots here. And he's not known as a great defender, but his defense has helped quite a bit. And that block, that second shot there by North Carolina starts the break. And when in the open floor, it is really hard to stay in front of Demetrius Jackson. If you do, he'll still go right into your chest, create the contact, and he's got the strength and concentration to finish the play.
Astoria was attacked, got rid of it. Colson now gets it to August. August working on Meeks, goes up strong. Meeks with the tip, and Demetrius Jackson pulls it out of there with a fresh 30.
Well, Zach August does so many good things for this Notre Dame team, but he's had some rough luck trying to get finishes.
How about that strong move? Again, trouble finishing for Jackson. Crowd wanted a foul. Justin Jackson pushing. Notre Dame not back in time to stop Marcus Page, his 5th triple of the night, and it puts Carolina back up by 3.
Well, I'll tell you, in transition, you have got to find Marcus Page first. And Mike Bray all over the officials about that drive by Demetrius Jackson, but I thought that Bryce Johnson had gone up straight there.
Astoria draws the contact and one.
Steve Astoria's made some nice drives, some nice curls into the lane. And that was a big-time finish as he turned the corner and kept his eyes up to knock that in.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. North Carolina up by 1 on Notre Dame. That last foul, initially, the official scorer gave it to Marcus Page. It would have been his 4th, but Roger Ayers comes over and tells us on Kennedy Meeks instead. So Page is good with 3, but Meeks now has 4 as Astoria goes to the free throw line with an opportunity to tie the game again.
When North Carolina getting outscored in second chance points by 4, outscored in points off turnovers by 17, and that's 17-0. Outscored in the paint by 10, and outscored from the free throw line now by 12. That's why Notre Dame is tied right now with the Tar Heels.
A splendid shooting performance from the free throw line, 22 of 24, and August got the steal, but he had to hold Bryce Johnson to do it, so Zach August going to pick up his 3rd, and everybody's in the bonus right now. That 8th team foul on Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame +9 in the turnover category. 11 turnovers for North Carolina, only 2 for Notre Dame.
North Carolina regains the lead. There's Kevin Durant getting set to lead Oklahoma City against Golden State. Boy, this is a great basketball doubleheader. First college in the NBA, Oklahoma City and Golden State. Just as soon as we're finished here in South Bend, both free throws are good. The second-ranked Tar Heels go back on top by 2.
It's like a little zone up top, a 1-2-2 with Justin Jackson up top. That gives a little bit of length up top for North Carolina. The corners will be open because the big guys have to cover the corners, and there it is.
Beecham makes him pay from the corner. VJ Beecham's had a terrific second half. Irish back on top for the second time here in the second half. Colson leaning on Isaiah Hicks.
Johnson's got to get the ball. That pass was late.
Bryce Johnson. Back and forth we go.
Johnson was open first for the lob, then got the little cross screen. He was wide open, needed to get the ball right away. Ultimately, he did get it. I think North Carolina's got to go inside.
Now North Carolina changes defenses again. Jackson, it's Berry off his feet. Shot clock's inside 10.
Nice pass.
Roll to the bucket for Colson.
Oh, what a beautiful screen roll by Notre Dame. That pocket pass by Demetrius Jackson, that was big time.
Marcus Page dumps one off. Justin Jackson blows the layup. August with the rebound.
And Mike Bray telling Demetrius Jackson, slow down, let's run something.
Jackson gets over to deny Beecham as he was trying to pop off the screen. VJ shot it well. Here in the second half, the Vestoria drives again, spinning on Page, puts it up off the window, no good. And Colson tracks it down in the corner. Notre Dame's been quicker to the ball most of the night.
Another second chance opportunity right now, and an extra possession for Notre Dame. And offensive rebounding, usually a strength for North Carolina. They've gotten some second shots, but they've given up an awful lot to Notre Dame.
Everybody needs post moves. Two little guys down on the block. Demetrius Jackson, they fire and fill it up. This is Notre Dame's biggest lead at 3.
Boy, Demetrius Jackson called off a screen. He told his teammate, get out of here, I'm going one-on-one.
Page missed the shot and Johnson missed the tip, and the Irish have the ball and the three-point edge.
Well, the Irish just tougher.
Beecham! Colson on the tip. Let's see who touched it last. It'll stay on this end with the Irish.
Boy, I thought that was off of Colson.
So did I.
But they're quicker to the ball, and the Irish have just been tougher. And North Carolina's still got a great opportunity to win a game on the road here. They're only down one possession. But they're going to have to toughen up and make some big stops down the stretch.
Jackson, no good. Joel Berry with the rebound, and here come the heels. Berry all the way in, over Colson, and scores. Strong move by Joel Berry.
And Demetrius Jackson kind of sold out there, tried to go over the top and take that ball away from Joel Berry. That was a low percentage defensive play.
Jackson gets it into the front court, and Mike Bray decides he wants a timeout. Well, Bray wondered what they would do for an encore. The last time game day showed up, they played 5 overtimes. I'm not sure that's it, but Demetrius Jackson's been terrific, Jay.
Well, he was trying, ball screen was coming. He said, get out of here, Zach. I'm going Elijah one on you.
Notre Dame with a 1-point lead on North Carolina. Mike Bray called that timeout here, and the Irish will have the ball 21 seconds on the shot clock. Jay, still a few seconds away from the next media timeout. Why do you think Bray wanted to stop it there? What does he want to do with this timeout?
Just give them a little bit of a break and let them catch their breath. They've got a lead right now. They want to refocus and talk about what they can do on this possession, and then they'll get another chance to sit down in a second. Just gives these guys play a lot of minutes. Notre Dame does not sub as often as North Carolina. They don't have as many players, so just gives them it just gives Mike Bray a chance to get his guys a little bit of extra rest and use that timeout for their benefit.
You talked about tough plays. You just saw the graphic that was up. Steals, second chance points, points off turnovers, everything in the advantage of the Irish, but it's only a 1-point game. See how Carolina finishes. Vestoria lines one up, can't get it to go, and Colson outfights everybody and gets the ball back. Fresh 30 for Notre Dame.
When North Carolina cannot get a defensive rebound. They're just getting beaten to the ball. They're not putting a body on anybody.
Bryce Johnson almost got a steal. Colson, a little dribbling. Bonzi rolls it in.
And that was a bucket because of an extra possession gotten by Bonzi Colson on the offensive board.
I'll tell you what, Colson has played his rear end off tonight. Hustle plays all over the place.
No, he always does. I mean, that performance he put on in Cameron Indoor Stadium was something else. He had 31 points in that game, and you're right, Bryce Johnson could have picked up a foul there. A little crossover, avoids the charge. He might be lobbying Mike Bray to start playing some point.
That last foul was called on Zach August, so Bray's going to try to get Zach a break because that's his 4th foul, and they certainly could use him down the stretch. Now, he's been quiet offensively in the second half, but early on when Notre Dame was really struggling, Zach August was the guy who kept them in the vicinity and gave them the opportunity to make this run as Isaiah Hicks rolls in the free throw.
You know, Bonzie Colson did go to Mike Bray and say, hey, Coach, I want to play some points. You see that move? Bray's the kind of guy that say, you know what, Bonzie, that's a great idea, but we post up our point guards a lot, and we like our point guards to play a lot of post defense.
A little mind game with him? Well, you know what? Apparently they do. We saw Demetrius Jackson. You said he went all Elijah on it. Here's Bonzie doing what he does best. Grabbing the rebound. Irish +2 with the ball. Astoria in a sea of blue. Can't get it to go. North Carolina on the move.
Got to get back.
Page kicks it out. And Pinson threw it away. Astoria chases it down. Will he take it all the way? Pfluger. And there's a block call. So Pfluger will go to the free throw line.
And another turnover for North Carolina.
Exactly. 2-point game. North Carolina. Gino Auriemma's team has just been blasting everybody, particularly in conference play. Who's going to be number 1 on the men's side? Number 1, Oklahoma's already lost tonight. North Carolina's down 2 with Rex Pfluger, who has missed 1 free throw all season long. He's now 13 out of 14. If he can make another one, he can make it a 2-possession game for the Irish, who once trailed by 15 points, and now they've made, as a team, 18 consecutive free throws.
And they've shot 26 of them.
Bryce Johnson rolling to the basket.
Boy, just a poor hedge by Bonzie Colson. That opened up an easy slip to the basket for Bryce Johnson. That was way too easy. But Notre Dame now going to use some clock and make North Carolina guard. With a 2-point lead, they can afford to take up some time and then attack and see if North Carolina is going to continue to put them on the free throw line.
Demetrius Jackson draws the foul, and everybody in the double bonus, shooting 2 free throws from this point out, and this 3rd foul on Berry.
That was just a slip to the basket. He saw that Bonzie Colson was leaning toward the hedge and kind of playing the action instead of staying in between Bryce Johnson and the basket on that. It does get quiet in here on free throws.
It does, doesn't it?
Kind of afraid to talk while it's going on. I don't want to bother anybody.
Bonzie Colson's going to get a rest, and one would imagine it's not long. Zach August returns. He's playing with 4 fouls. Kennedy Meeks now on his way to the scorer's table. He too has 4.
And all 5 guys in the starting lineup for Notre Dame in double figures. Bonzie Colson and Zach August both very close to double-doubles on the night. And Notre Dame with 18 offensive rebounds. 21 second chance points in this game. That really has been, along with the free throw line, what's kept them in this game with an opportunity to win it. There's a switch out top. Pfluger is on Page, and Page has been very quiet in this second half. Haven't gotten many opportunities at all.
There he goes, draws the foul.
Jackson was in good position, but he reached down with that right arm and then put it back up. It was almost like a catcher framing the pitch. But he got some arm as Joel Berry was driving in.
His 3rd foul on Jackson. Berry nearly an 82% free throw shooter on the year, and he is true with his first.
And who would have thought, with North Carolina shooting better from 3-point range than Notre Dame in this game, that the Irish should have the lead. You got to watch a trap here.
Jackson keeping it in the middle of the floor in hopes of avoiding that. Now gets it back with a chance to attack, and Pfluger thought about it for a second from 3 and then thought better of it. Why not get a layup with Zach August?
And North Carolina's defense has not been good, and Notre Dame has taken advantage of it.
First points of the second half for August, who was so good early. Now he gets the rebound and had it taken away, but a whistle blows. You can hardly hear it. And I believe they called that foul on Page, and now that's his fourth.
And North Carolina just getting absolutely lost here. Put into a ball screen. Nobody picks up Zach August, and Kennedy Meeks just way late recovering after he stepped down on that hedge. And that's why Mike Bray and almost every coach that plays against North Carolina wants to put these North Carolina big guys in as much ball screen action on the perimeter as they can. Draw them away from the basket and make them guard on the perimeter.
Rare missed free throw. They had made 20 consecutive free throws before August went wide right. As Luke May checks into the game, and Meeks, after that lapse.
You wonder if North Carolina is going to go to its scramble defense and try to throw some traps at Notre Dame. Make Demetrius Jackson or Steve Vastore give up the ball, see if they can create some turnovers as they did late against Louisville.
Marcus Page is shaking that shooting slump from the perimeter, but that's as big a bucket as he's made in a while. The drive, knocking it in to get it back to a three-point game with 1:50 to play.
Well, Marcus Page, the lefty, coming off that ball screen, a little hesitation, turns the corner, and then finishes with that left hand off the glass.
Again, Isaiah Hicks is heading back to the scorer's table, and Roy Williams will have him check in. And you see the programs that have the most home wins against teams ranked in the top 5. Notre Dame has a winning record in 24 victories against top 5 teams, and hoping to put another notch in their belt by beating North Carolina tonight.
Well, Mike Bray spent a lot of years in the Big East playing these kind of games, and Digger Phelps spent a lot of years as an independent knocking off higher-ranked teams. He didn't have any green on. We're going to have to talk to the old man about that.
They're also going to talk to our graphics guys. They had them 5 wins against number 1, but he counts a couple of them in the coaches poll too. He'll tell you it's 7.
But we won't have to tell any graphics guys. Digger will do that himself.
That's true.
Here come the traps. Initial trap, and then Notre Dame able to get out of it.
Shot clock inside 10. Jackson. Page got a hand on it. There's Bonzie Colson. Of course. Why not? He'll go to the free throw line. Colson's gotten every loose ball, it seems.
Well, when Bryce Johnson came to block that shot, nobody rotated over. When you go to block a shot, you got to get a rotation to get a block out, because Johnson had Colson. He goes to block that shot, and nobody puts a body on Bonzie Colson as he gets to the bucket. And shot blocking can be a strength, but when there's not a rotation, that can open up the glass, and then it becomes a weakness. And Notre Dame just exploited that weakness on the part of North Carolina.
Now 18 points, 10 rebounds, third double-double for Bonzie Colson as Beecham takes a break.
Well, if we were playing Monopoly and you bought that free throw line for Notre Dame, you'd be making a lot of cash, man, because they have been wearing a hole at that free throw line there so much in this game.
32 times, they've made 28 of them. 5-point lead, under 90 seconds to go. Page, 2 straight buckets for Marcus, and a quick timeout for Carolina.
How about that move by Marcus Page? The catch, rip, and immediate drive to the basket. Notre Dame letting him get to that left hand. You know, and even though he has shot lights out in this one, I still think you want to make him prove it from the perimeter. And holy cow, that's a big-time finish by Marcus Page. He is a gamer. I mean, you talk about slumps all you want to, and we have talked about it ad nauseum, but when the lights are on, you know, Marcus Page seems like he always responds.
This is what outstanding players do. They take the mental game, they attack it. Page has been able to do it tonight. His team's needed him for sure, and they'll need him in the last minute 14. Well, we've got another great ACC matchup coming. Louisville and Duke, Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. You can see it, the Watch ESPN or the ESPN app. Grayson Allen had a big day against North Carolina State, and Louisville, of course, playing for pride after self-imposing a one-year postseason ban. The ACC storylines, the Louisville story I mentioned. Tournament's going to be in Washington, D.C. There's 7 teams within 2.5 games of conference leading North Carolina, and Cat Barber, averaging better than 23 points per game, Had a good day against Duke, not quite enough. ACC tournament, it'll be a great one. It was last year. Better for Notre Dame than anybody else, but it was an entertaining tournament, and it will be again.
Boy, Notre Dame was absolutely spectacular in last year's ACC tournament. It was a team that was so much fun to watch. Could score from all 5 positions on the floor and really spread the floor. And now they're going to want to spread it again. Got to be strong with the ball here, and you have to expect a trap to come. And when the trap comes, everybody off the ball has to be a receiver. Here comes the trap.
Astoria has height to see over it. 2-on-1. Pfluger goes into the body of Johnson, and Johnson kept his distance, went over the top and blocked the shot. And it goes out of bounds. 17 left on the shot clock, exactly a minute to play.
And Pfluger tried to kind of jackknife to avoid that block shot. You got to go right into it. First of all, if you do and you get your shot blocked when you go right into it, you're the one that the offensive player is the one that's likely to get it back. But a shot clock issue, so it's a free rest and a huddle for Notre Dame as they try to work that out. So this is actually good for Notre Dame.
Now the last time number 1 and number 2 lost on the same day, Groundhog Day 2013, so a little over 3 years ago. Michigan and Kansas were the top 2 teams on that day. Oklahoma has already fallen today, and North Carolina down by 3 with a minute to play here in South Bend. You know, from a Notre Dame standpoint, as the officials work this out, the reason, I mean, there are a lot of reasons. It's always significant to beat North Carolina, but they've got a stretch of schedule coming up for the next 5 games on the road. 15-7, 6-4 in conference. If they could add another quality win, they already have a win over Iowa on their resume. Be nice to build up another one before you hit this road stretch.
Yeah, and just protecting your home court, no matter who you're playing against, you should feel like you have to win at home and can win at home. And right now, as the officials try to straighten out this clock situation, you know, Notre Dame's got a 3-point lead. They can make it a 2-possession game if they're able to get a score. And I think the ball's got to go to Demetrius Jackson, clear it out, maybe bring a flat ball screen and let him get downhill and drive it to the basket, because he can always kick it out to a guy like Vastoria who's spotting up, and even Pfluger, who's got the ability to shot fake and drive.
Now, other than just being intent and alert defensively, what does North Carolina need to do defensively here to take away what the Irish would like to do?
Well, they've got to communicate. They've got to stay in front. I mean, if you're going to get any type of ball screen situation, you're going to have to communicate on that. And it's not just the 2 defenders involved in the ball screen. All 5 guys defensively have to play a ball screen the right way. And North Carolina has not done a very good job of that throughout the course of this game. I think when looking at the tape, I think Roy Williams will be somewhat disappointed in his team's defense and the way they played in this one. Their offense maybe hadn't been as good as he'd like either, but I think their defense put them in a bad spot. They did not rebound well. Notre Dame got offensive rebound after offensive rebound. They fouled too much, and part of that is positioning. They put themselves in a position to foul. And I think you can expect right now that Mike Brey is going to put the ball into the hands of Demetrius Jackson.
Clock never started. 3 seconds need to come off, so we made the adjustment.
They adjusted the game clock. Clock didn't start on the last play, so they made the adjustment to the clock, took 3 seconds off, so 57 seconds to play and 14 seconds now left on the shot clock.
And a defensive substitution. Theo Pinson coming in for Isaiah Hicks. Gives him another perimeter defender.
As you expected, they put the ball in Jackson's hands, and North Carolina wants to get it out, and they do. Jackson protects it, 5 on the shot clock. They're going to have to get one up. Pfluger got rid of it in the corner and on the way, and it's no good, and North Carolina has it.
A great trap by North Carolina to take away Notre Dame's ability to do what they wanted on that play.
And a foul away from the ball as Pfluger was trying to keep up with Marcus Page, so North Carolina will go to the free throw line. With Marcus Page shooting a couple, a chance to get it within 1 with 32.5 to go.
Yeah, not the smartest foul there by Pfluger, the freshman. He went to Modern Day High School, played for the great high school coach there, Gary McKnight. And you don't want a foul there. You just want to get on the outside hip of Marcus Page and chase him off that 3-point line.
Page has had a good night from beyond the arc, but this is his first trip to the free throw line. It's pure 2-point game. Now, what do you expect Carolina to do if he makes this free throw here?
I think they're going to go after him. I think you've got to go after him full court. And then if you happen to foul, I think the guys you want to put on the line, VJ Beacham, you might put Colson there. I don't think you have to foul. You can put Pfluger there as well. You don't have to foul, but you don't have to be afraid of a foul.
At what point do you have to? There's about a 2-second differential.
I think you give the foul right there. You try to get a steal, but you don't want to let it go too far. And now Roy Williams has plenty of time, but that's not the guy I would have fouled. I mean, I think you fouled. If you could have fouled Beacham, that's the guy I would have fouled. And they had the opportunity because Beacham had to come up and present himself as a receiver and got the ball. But it's still a one. Even if Notre Dame makes both of these, it's a one-possession game.
Jackson puts in the first one. Zach August returns. August playing with the 4 fouls, and Beacham will go to the bench. Jackson passing 1,000 career points on the night. He'd like to make it 1,006 and make it a 3-point game, and he does.
They'll try to advance it up the sideline. I think you got to try to get to the rim.
See how quickly Carolina attacks. Page rises up for 3. It's no good. Fight for the rebound inside. Vestoria head position, and the foul's called on North Carolina.
Boy, didn't need that 3. That could end it right there. You needed to get to the rim. That was a settle by Marcus Page and a contested 3 instead of getting to the basket and trying to extend the game. But how about Notre Dame hanging in there, Reese?
Yeah.
They had every opportunity to let this game get away, and I think one of the key points in the game was the end of the first half.
30 of 35. We talked about Notre Dame just trying to get within striking distance at the end of that first half. With just over 2 minutes to play, they were down 37-22. Got it to single digits by halftime. And then able to pull even, and now with a chance to make it a 2-possession game, and Vestoria does. 10.3 to go, and the Tar Heels need a quick bucket, and they don't have to foul. They let the ball roll into the front court to save time. Barry picks it up. That's probably what they needed on the last trip, but they needed the shot to go in, and August might have just sealed this thing with a rebound.
Notre Dame was just tougher. Pure and simple. Offensive rebounds, loose balls.
So what does this say to you about North Carolina in terms of, I mean, they're likely not going to be number 1 now with 2 losses this week. But in terms of the big picture, where they need to step up a little more, just in making those tough-minded plays?
I think it had to do with their defense, really. I didn't think their defense in the first half was as good as it needed to be, and they had an opportunity with Notre Dame shooting it so poorly. And you give them credit for making Notre Dame shoot it poorly, but they didn't finish possessions by grabbing big rebounds. And Notre Dame, last 2 minutes of that first half was the game, because Notre Dame got back in it, and it was over.
That is the game in a microcosm right there. August missed 2 free throws. Carolina got the rebound. August took it away. And Notre Dame has beaten number 2, and the students coming out to celebrate. Seventh time in college basketball history that the top 2 teams in the poll have lost to unranked opponents on the same day. Oklahoma lost to Kansas State. North Carolina losing here in South Bend, and a disappointing finish for Roy Williams, a game that the Tar Heels seemingly had in good shape during the first half, and Mike Bray's just walking in front of where we are, and that smile could light up any arena in America right now, wouldn't you say? And how about the Irish? Now look, North Carolina carries such significance here, and now the Irish have beaten them 3 straight times.
Well, Notre Dame hung in there. That team showed a lot of toughness and a lot of heart. When things weren't going their way, they hung in and made the tough plays.
80-76, the final. Notre Dame beats North Carolina. Thunder and Warriors coming up next as the NBA takes over on ESPN. For Shannon Bacon, Jay Billis, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Reese Davis. Thanks for watching. Let's go now to the NBA studio in Dorisburg.